Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to the Tarkir Dragonstorm Early Access event. Thank you very much to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with this promotional early access accounts. And without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one. While this is a three-color clan format, this is definitely still a format where you got to worry about your mana base, you got to worry about playing hopefully a streamlined two-color deck, splashing in a third color a lot of the time over just like immediately hopping in on 4 and 5 color soup. So having a really powerful mono-colored spell to start off the draft is still a fantastic pickup. So Voice of Victory here going to be strong in any white deck. It'll be at its absolute best in Mardu decks, ideally. Those are the red, white, and black color pair decks or color trio decks that have a lot of ways to utilize the mobilized tokens, these little warriors that get sacked at your end step no matter what you do. Because in black white, there are some really good ways to sacrifice those tokens to draw cards or get some other form of value. And in red white, there are good ways to buff up the tokens, maybe deal damage to your opponent whenever they enter the battlefield. Some really nice stuff in the Mardu clan for the Voice of Victory. So very nice start. For pick two, Molten Exhale is a great efficient removal spell we can play in any red deck, and red and white are two enemy colors. That's the best way to start off your draft, is starting with two enemy colors because they'll fit into multiple clans. So red and white fit into Jeskai red, white, blue, and Mardu red, white, black. So starting with red, white, we have multiple directions to go. We can also just take the Pack Beast, a very solid card, and just white alone and stick to just mono white here. But I don't know the cards well enough yet, but I don't think there's anything that strong off color to push us off of some kind of Mardu stuff. I think, changed my mind there. I'm actually just going to lock in on white there and take the Pack Beast because I have been impressed by this card. It does play well in any deck that has a lot of creatures, but particularly well with the mobilize mechanic as well. Often those warrior tokens will be randomly left behind post-combat, and you'll have quite a few on board to reduce the Pack Beast cost and just get a good value play there. So pick number three. These Dragonstorms are some of the weaker ones. The ones that impact the board in some way, I think, are the best. My favorite is the white one that gives you 2/2/2s, but some kind of 5-color dragons deck could be still pretty fun, pretty powerful. Not really what we're doing here with an aggressive mono white start. So I think we can ignore those. We have an okay black mobilized card if I want to pick a second color here, or we can take Mystic Monastery, which is going to be good for us if we end up in Mardu red, white, and black, because it'll be red, white fixing. And then obviously it'll be really good with us, or for us, if we end up in Jeskai red, white, and blue. So I like the Monastery there. Pick number four. This is an interestingly simple draft to stay monocolored in because I think Kinguard's pretty good. 2 mana for a 2/3 or 2 mana for a 1/2 and a 1/1. It's a very flexible card. It's just a good rate for that cheap mana cost either way. There are great synergies in the format for cards that care about +1/+1 counters as well as cards that care about creature tokens. So either way you go with it, it's going to be good. Ideally, here we play a deck that cares about creature tokens, right? Getting 2 creatures off 1 spell helps our Pack Beast be a lot cheaper already, and any other cards like that. Okay, pick 5 Oblivion Ring. Don't mind if I do. That fits in with what we've got perfectly, just sticking mono white. But I think that the Stadium Headliner is a strong card in the Mardu decks, where you're making a lot of tokens. This can sack itself to deal damage to the number of creatures you control to target creature. One thing that's really important to keep in mind with this card is that once you sacrifice it, you've got one less creature than you had before. It does not count itself towards its sack ability, so you can punt really hard and lose a game off of that. Speaking from experience, potentially. Pick number 6 now. I've enjoyed the Riling Dawnbreaker. If you don't have any cheap cards in your hand, it is perfectly fine to just slap out your 2 mana 2/2 and get your curve going. But it's tacked onto a card with a pretty good top end spell, a 3/4 Flying Vigilance that gives somebody +1/+0 each turn. Essentially plays like a Serra Angel, 5 mana 4/4 Flying Vigilance. It doesn't buff itself, but it is, 4 power and 4 toughness worth of stats on your board, even if it is a little spread out. So I like the card. Brigade is probably a bit stronger, but if I can start completely mono white, that's just such an open, beautiful path to take here. A million decks we could choose from as this draft progresses, and we can do so definitely taking another Riling Dawnbreaker here. Now for pick 8, we can finally pass up on the white card, I think. +1/+1 counter, flying and indestructible till end of turn just does not seem particularly good. Those are abilities you'd want to be using on like blocks, I guess. The best trick like this we've ever seen was lifelink indestructible, because wow, is it hard to race once you get a big lifelink swing, but I just don't think flying indestructible is what you want off the 2-mana trick. I don't think I'm playing anything else here. I mean, there's like Devoted Duelist if I'm Jeskai, red, white, and blue, but I don't think so. Dragonback Lancer is pretty fine. A 3/3 flyer that gives you that mobilized warrior token each swing. That seems fine, but I think the Tri-lands are high enough picks to just grab that here. And the Citadel, once again, by being enemy colors here, white, black, and green. If we go Abzan, which is white, black, and green, it's going to be fantastic. But if we go Mardu, white, black, and red, it's still going to be useful. So the Tri-lands just work in such a high variety of decks that I think it's pretty fine. I'm going to take Alesha's Legacy here. With enough mobilized stuff going on, you get to turn any of your 1/1 mobilized tokens into a removal spell. Like they block your 1/1 thing, you're just like, okay, Death Touch. Kill their biggest blocker. These all seem pretty weak. Black does seem open. 2-mana, 2/1 lifelink, exile from your grave, give another thing lifelink later, seems perfectly solid. The Outrider also solid for decks that care about going wide, but I like the Assistant on curve. Maybe Mardu or Abzan here, just starting black-white. I have enjoyed the monuments. They're better in slower decks, that's for sure. But they pick up whatever land you need out of your main 3 colors, and then they also spit out a creature later. This one spits out a creature with power toughness equal to the highest toughness you have on board, which is pretty cool. So a ton of fantastic options for pack 2 pick 1. So this will be a little bit of a hard choice. There's a bunch of different directions we can take this. I don't have a ton of mobilize right now. I have 1 Voice of Victory. But if we get a bunch of mobilize, the Stormsinger plays super well. All those tokens dying are draining your opponent for life, and anything dying, so just being aggressive in general plays great with that card. But there's also some Abzan cards here. Big Flyer puts a bunch of counters on your board. It's a 6/7 worth of stat lines by itself. The Severance is great removal. There's also the Siege if we wanted to try to go towards Jeskai, but I think with white and black at the core, we take Stormsinger or we take the Abzan card. I'm going to take the Stormsinger here. I think it's going to be really, really strong, whatever black-white deck we end up with, and just absurdly strong if we get to be Mardu and have a bunch of mobilized cards. So pack 2, pick 2. Static Snare is an absurdly efficient removal spell. Costs 1 less for each attacking creature, so you can cast it for only 1 mana sometimes when you're mobilizing around, which is fantastic. I like this red card a lot too, but if we are Mardu, red's going to be the splash, which means we won't have red on turn 3 all the time. It might take longer to hit our splash color, and this card is much stronger the earlier you cast it. Although because of that secondary effect, I mean, it's not a bad top deck late either. Try to just get a recast going. But Static Snare is just so efficiently good, or consistently good. It's an absurd removal spell, and I'm just going to take the absurd removal spell. Pick 3. Worthy Cost is great with enough mobilized tokens, because they're incredibly expendable to sacrifice to it. There's also a Mardu rare. Splash towards this. Pretty fine to cast this later. It stays relevant at any point with the mobilize mechanic, because you're going to have creatures triggering it and entering the battlefield just by attacking with one of your mobilize cards. Splash in some red removal with Exhale as well, or just take some slower white removal with the white Exhale over the red Exhale. Tons of great options here. Also, the Lancer's not bad, but I'm going to take this Mardu rare. I now regret it. I think this Abzan rare is even better than the Mardu one. 4 mana for 3 1/1s. Great cluttered up board. And then you put 3 +1/+1 counters on the board, so 4 mana for 6 power and toughness worth of cards. And then you give your whole board trample lifelink the turn after that. That's ridiculous. Yeah, if I just took the mobilized bird or something like that last turn, or last pick, That would have been really awesome. And then we just splash the Abzan here instead. Alright, so Monastery unlikely, because the Abzan card is stronger for this deck right now. 2 mana +2/+2 lifelink hexproof trick, or 5 mana 4/4 flying, pay 2 life to target it, and it removes all the +1/+1 counters from a creature, or something like that. I like this Stormblood at the top of the mana curve, that seems decent. Crocodile also pretty decent, just great stat line for the cost, and the Earth Carver is really good with our mobilized tokens. Sacking them for value, but let's take the big dragon. Dargen it up. Nightblade Brigand for another mobilized card seems decent, but Pack Beast, we've got a good curve, a lot of 2-mana creatures here. I think we can get a good amount of creatures on board and make this a consistently solid, like 4-mana creature around there. Get that card advantage off of it. Pick 7. The Defensive Exhale, the 3-mana mobilizer, or another Monument. Monument, I think, looks a little slow for what this deck is doing right now, but with double Monument, we can lean towards a slower game plan and still have a really strong deck. I'm going to go for double Monument. I think this card is just straight up good. Pick 8. Yeah, now that we're leaning a little slower, we have 2 ways to pick up an extra land. We can grab a huge top-end card like Earth Carver. Yeah, green's our splash, but we'll definitely have our splash color by 6 mana on board. And this is a 4/4 and a 3/3 for 6. Yeah, Abzan's open. We get the Armament Dragon back. Huge finisher. Really happy with the pivot towards a slower build with multiple ways to pick up more lands, because that plays perfectly with a huge 6-mana dragon. Deck is starting to look real nice here. Ancestor has great synergies with Mobilize, but I have a lot of cards right now that have great synergies with Mobilize and not a lot of Mobilizers, so I'm going to throw another Mobilizer in. I'm going to get the Lancer here. Pick 11, there's another Lancer, but we are playing a bit slower here, so I really like this 2-mana removal spell. We can play on blocks. And then here I get a Lancer anyway. All the Lancers in the world. Another Earth Carver as well. I don't mind that at all. So, pack 3, pick 1. Probably Salt Road Skirmish. Blow up any creature for 4 and get a little bit of mobilized warriors to get some damage in. Skirmish Rhino also definitely strong. Definitely strong. I'm on the White Exhale, the Static Snare, and 1 Oblivion Ring. I think that's low enough on removal to take removal over Skirmish Rhino, but both would definitely be good. Pack 3, pick 2. 2 mana 1/3. Sack a creature you control with mana value X other than CDC. Return a creature mana value X +1 from your grave to the battlefield. That feels too narrow to actually be that good. I've got double Monument and a Tri-land. I can probably take another Armament Dragon over a Blossoming Sands. And I'm going to. Pick 3 now. Very filler removal spell this time with Coordinated Maneuver. You have to have a bunch of creatures on board to use it. Or you can like blow up their Oblivion Ring if you're lucky and get your card back. Brigand, good mobilized synergies, or the Black-White Duel. Feel the fixing is important enough, but I have no 3-mana spells at all. Literally nothing at 3 mana on the curve feels awkward as ever. I just don't. The stat line on Brigade doesn't feel that crazy. I'm gonna get fixing. Oh, another Tri-land? Do I have to take a Tri-land over a Skirmish Rhino? Skirmish Rhino is a great card for the cost, and the other thing that's really exciting about it is it is a 3-drop, as we said last pick. I guess because I spent that last pick taking the land over the 3-drop, now I can probably afford the 3-drop over the land, or at least I can justify it a little more in my head here. Citadel might still be better. Just literal perfect fixing, but I'm taking Rhino. Pick 5, boom, another static snare. This card is goated with the sauce. Pick number 6, ramp from routine. Mediocre early spells. Crocodile's a solid 5. 5/3, dies, get a 2/2, also get a ++1 counter on the board. Pick 7. There we go, green-black duel. Can take that over a Abzan Devotee. This is fine fixing, but I think the land is just better fixing. I've already got 5/2 drops, I can pass up on that. Whew. Hardened Tactician, if we get any mobilizers on board, we are drawing cards for days. This also plays really well with our Fortress Kinguard, getting the 1/1 token there too. Ooh, the 3 1/1s off of Revival of the Ancestors to go with the Hardened Tactician. This deck is looking sweet. Big fan of this one for sure. Siege Rhino wheels, nobody in Abzan but me, I guess? Let's go. Double Siege Rhino. Well, Skirmish Rhino, but you get the gist. Turn 2 Monument, turn 3 Skirmish Rhino is definitely going to be a pattern we could see coming up. We go tap land on 1, basic and Monument. Boom, Skirmish Rhino on 3, guaranteed from that. And then that curves out so well, actually. Monument is great with Skirmish Rhino. Wow, we wield the sands too. Beautiful. But yeah, we can turn 2 Monument to pick up the right basic land to play the Skirmish Rhino. And then we can also then crack the Monument on turn 4. Our 3 mana play is the Rhino. Our 4 mana play is the 4/4 Spirit because I have the Rhino on board. Pick 12 Sandstep Citadel is criminal, but I will take it here. Definitely over a 2 mana green creature, as green is the splashed in 3rd color to our black-white focused Abzan deck. Alright, lovely deck here. Lovely deck. Ready to go 0-3 with it somehow. Let's see. 21 creatures. Cut a few of those for sure. I mean, the double Armament Dragon, we can probably just not play the Earth Carvers because I already have the good top end from that. Probably can drop the Croc as well. Get a nice, solidly aggressive curve that still has a bunch of great top end with a bunch of dragons. Revival of the Ancestors, so forth. The Monuments are a couple 4-drop creatures too. Trying to add to our creature count. That seems really reasonable. 3 more cards to cut. I have enough hard removal. I think I can cut the mediocre combat tricks here. And then 1 final card. I have 2 ways to tutor out a land, so I could cut 1 land, but I do need 2 mana to get the 3rd mana with these. And I have very strong late game plays. So maybe a little bold. The Bloodflies is really not that good in here. If they play a 3 mana 2/2 flyer, it's completely blanked, and I'm very rarely actually attacking with this once I have a creature with a counter on the board. I have very few creatures that get counters. I have like 1 or 2 Endure cards, so Bloodfly seems pretty bad. I guess it works with the Armament Dragons, but that's so late in the game for our 2-drop to start being decent. Yeah, we'll cut the Bloodflies. 15 creatures, 2 Monuments that work as 4 mana creatures, so kind of like 17 creatures. Bunch of great removal. Exhale, Detainment, Skirmish, Double Snare. Big Bomb with Revival of the Ancestors. Big fan of the deck. Looks great to me. Very excited to see how it does. So without further ado, let's hop right into the gameplay. Alright, here we are for game 1 on the draw. Really solid hand here. Stormsinger plays crazy with the Revival of the Ancestors. We're guaranteed to be able to play that. If I hit any land, we can play it on 4. We have all the colors for it. I've got a curve out before then too with Guard into Brigade. Really nice looking hand. The way this hand is shaping up to be, we want to split the Kinguard into 2 creatures, and I think that'll be the case most of the time in this deck. Wingblade Disciple. If I had removal to kill it, I would, because if they flurry on me, it's going to be really, really not good. Honestly, Voice of Victory might be 1 mana less than Brigade, but it's just better with this combination of cards right now. Not the most mana efficient play, but it plays really powerfully with the Storm Singer, which we're definitely trying to play soonish. Okay, I will definitely lead with Revival of the Ancestors, though, to get these +1/+1 counters ASAP, and then have a million creatures on board for Storm Singer attacks. Actually, maybe should have Skirmished Disciple still. That was definitely something I could do as well. But the worst case scenario was 1/1 flyer turn. So the worst case scenario is like 1/1 flyer period. Because I could just kill it this next turn instead of playing Storm Singer. And they can't flurry this turn anyway. Sick. Okay, they can't cast spells during my turn. So we know they have nothing up here. Do I just make this a 3/6? I can make this a 3/6 and then skirmish and just jam. That 2/3 lets me skirmish really well too. If I skirmish the Envoy, attack with everybody. Actually on team skirmish the Envoy here. Let the Disciple do its thing to get really aggressive on this swing. Yeah, look at that board. I mean, 4 of these 1/1s are going to be gone in a split second, but this is still damage here. They're down to 10. Ice Ridge Serpent, bounce a 2/2 token. And I have no idea how much damage this is, but let's find out. Because it's a lot. We gain 1 million, and then I finish them off with Skirmish Rhino. Yep, that's more than enough to finish them with the Skirmish Rhino. That's dead right now. My god. Storm Singer is the business. Brutal. Brutal game of Magic. We're 1-0 heading into game 2. Here we are for game 2, and we saw literally 1 game ago how powerful Voice of Victory plus Storm Singer can be if our opponent doesn't have the interaction. Wildling tutors out a land, finds a red source, so Teamer, green, red, blue, or some kind of 4 or 5 color deck. Green, red, and blue so far. Guess who it is? Are we encountered by the 2-mana counterspell? Oh, even worse. It's the uncommon one you really can't expect. Oh, that's rough. Brigade still curves really well into the Storm Singer. Teamer plays a pretty powerful control deck. The Harmonize mechanic is the main mechanic in that color trio. And it's basically flashback, so they're going to have a lot of cards they can play twice, like 1 mana deal 2 to something, and then 7 mana flash it back, do it again. Here's the Storm Singer for some damage here. 2 damage and gain 1 life. Solid hand here. It's all removal, so if our opponent has the removal to clear out our threats, we're not in a very good spot. But if they just have more good creatures of their own, then we're in an excellent spot. Well, that's gross. Kill our creature and deal 10 to me? Alright. You got it. Our board doesn't really get any extra value from the extra 1/1s right now, so I'm just going to detain the stag instead of using anything else on it. But we're definitely detaining it. We just got hit for 1,000,000 here. I don't want to get another 5 to the face from it. Storm Shell? Okay. Storm Shell is very funny, but not the greatest. So it attacks, stun it, and draw 3. I mean, it probably is pretty strong, but it's not going to be that strong here. Or 2. So I'll have 2 attacking creatures. Once I have 2 attacking creatures, I can play this for 3 and pay the 2 for the ward. Make sure they don't draw 1,000,000 cards. They're down to a single card left in their hand, whereas I've got a removal spell and 2 big dragons. That last card in their hand's got to be pretty strong, or we are in a great position. They redraw that 1 dragon. That's fine. Our own dragon plays well against it. Especially once the armament dragon comes down, we can make our Dawnbreaker a 4/5 flying vigilance. Okay, the last card is really good. Earth Carver's pretty gross here. Oh, I don't have to make it a 7/7. Would be pretty gross if they split it up. But I can just 1-for-1 kill that thing and be happy. I'm going to save the Exhale here. It's my last piece of removal, and the Stormbrood is not super concerning right now. Okay, if they start doing prowess stuff here... Okay, yeah, I have to kill it now. Take 6 or chump. I guess we are just going to kill the Stormbrood then. Unless they flash back here. Yeah, they don't. Alright. Pack Beast is cool. But let's just get damage. Spread it a little bit. Tap and stun one of these. They stun the Dawnbreaker, but I still hit for 5 with the other one. Because we have flying here, they could recast, yeah, the Dragon Hunt, draw a card, discard a card. Because tapping the Sage doesn't matter. It doesn't have reach or anything. See if we draw anything that matters. Not exactly. We do draw something castable. All right. The sick Abzan deck stays winning. We are 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3 on the play. I like the hand here. Some pretty high mana value cards, but I do get to start with just a 2/1 lifelink on 2. Trade that off in anything if our opponent's aggressive. Now I even have a Kinguard to play as well. And it's getting quite good now. Kinguard plays really well into the Pack Beast being cheap. Let's just get a full-on curve going here. Do not kill monkey. No, monkey's too adorable. You're so rude. Okay. Go wide for the pack beast. Just play that next turn. This monument's going to be a really late game play at this point. Stormsinger's a good draw, but I still want a pack beast while I know it's cheap enough to get that out here. Exile the pack beast, sure, all good. They're red, green, and white, which is weird because that doesn't line up with anything. So they must be a 4-color deck. Red, blue, green, and white, I think makes the most sense. I might be going crazy, but that would be Temur and Jeskai. So splashing one of those two clans. They could have like a board wipe here. I still have a pretty strong board post wipe. I'm gonna get the extra 1 damage going here. Play this pre-combat for the +1/+0. Go team, go. Yep, blue, red, green, white, that makes a ton of sense. Here's the life drain from the mobilize, they're down to 9. They need something pretty great here to stabilize. Rebuke the Dawnbreaker plus 3 mana rebate towards playing a second spell this turn. And it exiles specifically so they don't lose any life off that, and the second spell kills the Stormsinger. That is something pretty great. To make them much more stable. They're still under a good amount of pressure here, though. Especially if we hit the land. Okay, well that works too. It's the monument for the mana here. So I can do both. This thing's a sorcery, right? Yes. So I can put my counters wherever I want and not worry about them shooting something for 3. Siege makes a goblin every turn. Yeah, their upkeep, they get a 1/1 goblin every turn. Like to kind of spread them, but a 3/4 to attack into the Devotee immediately is also kind of big. So we'll do that, and then also attack with a 4/4 token here. Yeah, let's also attack with a 4/4 token here. Well, if they don't have an instant, they go block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They go to 1 life and chump if they don't have an instant. Let's go all in. I guess I could have had lethal here if I was certain they didn't have any instants. If we spread them out, they would have been dead there. But they still pretty much need a board wipe to live. We get trample lifelink next turn. Alright, this deck continues to be awesome. I have really enjoyed this. I love this clan, and this is doing all that kind of good obs on great stuff with all the counters and tokens everywhere. And this has been sick. We are 3-0 heading into game 4. Here we are for game 4 on the draw. Solid opener here. Got cheap removal. I have Monkey. And the finisher is the Revival of the Ancestors that's been consistently fantastic. Another red-green deck. Red and green overlap in Teamer and Teamer alone. So red, green, blue, most likely from our opponent. Unless they're playing 4 colors. Attuned Hunter, 3/3 Trampler with some good abilities. Wow, I could just Skirmish Rhino on curve instead of killing that. Sure. There's one card I'm mildly worried about that makes me maybe consider the Detainment here, and that's I've seen this uncommon that puts a +1/+1 counter on your creature and then has the creature deal damage equal to its power. If they have exactly that, they kill Rhino by having Hunter on board and wouldn't otherwise. Any of the other green removal, though, doesn't like buff it up or anything. Alright. They don't have exactly that. Detain the 4/4. The combat trick isn't big enough if they double block, and I really like my Skirmish Rhino, so I will keep it safe from the double block kill here. Next turn will be interesting. It really depends on what they do. I'm probably casting Revival of the Ancestors, but we also could double spell with the combat trick removal spell and the literal +2/+2 combat trick at the same time. Or like play a 2/2 and do one of those two. If they tap out for some like really average 3/3 or something, and I top deck a basic, I could also just play the big flyer and then attack them with a 3/1 lifelink and a 3/4, and they wouldn't have great blocks. Very dependent on what they do here. We have a lot of options next turn. Devotee and a Devotee. Alright, so like 5-color nonsense over there. We got a green, blue, black, and a red, blue, white Devotee. We did hit the 5th mana to just go Dawnbringer. Go ham. Now that they're cluttering up the ground pretty well, though, it might be best to just play a big flyer. Start jamming it in the sky. Yeah, let's do it. This is 1 less power in the sky than the Stormbrood, but it also gets the Monkey in. They must have some restrictive costs here, not wanting to trade off the Devotees that much. We got a beefy Trampler, we have a beefy Flyer. Definitely got to consider trades. They take it. Good work from the Monkey. Meticulous Artisan, they get a 3/3 and a treasure token. They've got all the colors in the world between all of the Devotees and the treasure token. So if they have some crazy 5-color spells, they're going to be jamming them in. Alright. Get in there again, Monkey. Music is pretty good for the set. We're down to 10. Tactician and hold up my tricks, or just play the revival? Tactician doesn't do a ton on this board. I'm just playing revival. Card's nuts. The one thing I don't like about this is now I don't have the hexproof trick to protect our flyer. But if that flyer dies, we'll just play this as a second flyer to kill them with. Ooh, they're gonna have to double spell to kill it. Twin Bolt and Channel Dragonflyer. Solid deal for us. Make one of these a 3/3. They have one card left in their hand. If it's an instant, they can prowess eat a 3/3. That'd be a little rough. We'll see. Can do the Stormbrood combat trick or the Exhale and also play Tactician in the same turn, so I think I can attack here. Because the Stormbrood is also a combat trick, I do value keeping that information hidden pretty highly. But I do think I've been generally not revealing a little too often on these Behold cards. Alright, the deck continues to be tremendously powerful. We just ride right into a 4-0 run, as we head into Game 5. Alright, here we are on the plate with turn 2 Voice of Victory, turn 3 Skirmish Rhino. This format is the business. It's gonna be such a fun set to draft. And Sealed has been great too. Sealed has been pretty different from Draft 2. We've been so splashy in the Sealed and nice and synergistic in the Draft. I just have really enjoyed the set so far. So I'm very excited for this this next month and a half here. It's technically a little over 2 months till Final Fantasy, but I'll be going on a vacation in a month and a half. So won't be playing Magic for a couple weeks. I'll still keep up with all the daily videos, don't worry about that. But for me personally, I won't feel like I played every single week, like it will for all of you. Man, why couldn't I have taken my vacation during Ether Drift? It's still really, really early to tell. I love every format this early into the format, but this has just felt so cool. They might just be dead. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. They can't cast any spells right now. This might be 13. I don't know math. I guess it is. Wow. I feel starry-eyed playing this deck and looking at this deck. This is just incredible, incredible stuff, and we're 5-0, still undefeated heading into round number 6. Here we are for game number 6. We're on the draw here. We start with a 2-mana 2/2 and then don't do anything till turn 4. So it's our slowest hand yet, but it's still tremendously powerful with really efficient removal with the Static Snare. our Revival of the Ancestors being consistently busted. Playing against a red deck here. It's one of our slower hands. We could get aggroed out, and Sharpshooter is fantastic with the Mobilize cards in this set. Gets a bunch of damage in real quick. Alright, combat trick my 2/2 if you want. Oh, they've got the uncommon. Gross. Just kills it for free. Alright. There was a game to lose. It would be the Mardu deck curving out on you on the play. Double ping from Sharpshooter. Yeah, if we lose this game, we lose this game. I stand by this deck being super, super strong. I think any deck in this format can die to the Mardu curve out. If you're on the draw. Sure, I still get all the 1/1s. Revival is so strong that, like, even there, it's like, okay, that played fine. They have a 1 red mana spell here still? So I've got 5 mana next turn. Okay, they don't. They're just going for unblockability there. Pack Beast costs 6 if I lose all my 1/1s, so I can't triple block Boltcaster and still play Pack Beast next turn. So I lose 1/1/1, I Pack Beast for 4 and hold up a Static Snare if they attack with everybody. The turn after this. I think that's the play. Voice of Victory. Can instead play that and Pack Beast. That feels a little better. Yeah, because they only have 3 creatures. I could snare for 2, but not for 1. Alright, come on, maybe let's get stable. Let's get stable, Arena. Alright, a 1/2 is fine. Sharpshooter pings are really not. Card is thick. Exile on the Pack Beast. Just a 1 ping this turn at least. Turtle up with Armament Dragon. Shock Brigade. So much damage with Sharpshooter. Go to 5. And the deal 2 flashback card. So our creatures dying now drains them for 1, which most importantly gives us a life. I can snare if 2 creatures end up attacking. I get a lot of life drain attacking with Voice of Victory here. But then I don't have it up as a blocker. I think that's fine. I might have to Static Snare to protect Voice of Victory here, which I would not enjoy. Overkilling Sharpshooter. They do only have 1 mobilizer left with Sharpshooter. if I can keep Stormsinger and Voice, the life drain really counteracts the Sharpshooter. So I'm going to try to do that. Get a 2/2 from the Dawnbreaker and ping me for 1. Unblockable Brigade, ping me for 1. Get the unblockable 1 damage in. They have the Dragonfire. They don't have the mana for that, but if they did, they couldn't kill the 3/4 anyway, so we block with the 3/4. Yes. All right. Oh. Oh my god, that's good. Okay, this is going to be a chump attack with Voice this time for sure. But it's going to draw me cards when I drain this time. I don't think I can attack with Stormsinger too. Oh my god. Hold the phone. Hold the phone here. Wait a minute. Static's near the Sharpshooter now? What a draw! Devotee off the top. Have we flipped the table on Boros aggro here? Really is feeling like it. 3 blockers up. I think I still play it really safe. As long as they don't just top deck something that lethals me, and it's easier for them to do that if I attack slightly too hard. We're doing this pre-block so that I might draw some kind of trick that could be relevant. Alright, well. We might not have completely turned the tables here. Because I am taking 2 a turn, and I'm no longer drawing cards. I just flooded out on that one. Which is bad. We had a couple really good turns, but yeah, they're still unblocking for 2 every turn. We're on a 4-turn clock. 3-turn clock if they just shoot our face. With their flashback, 2 damage burn. I can attack with Stormsinger if they do that. That's actually, I think, beneficial to me. Much as I don't like taking that damage. I get to send in the Stormsinger now. And know that it's not going to die. Oh, a life linker? Maybe. Six damage in the sky. 7 damage in the sky because the +1/+0. My creature's dying pings them, so if I attack all, they're dead. Yeah, they're dead. Wild game. Absolutely wild game. Great Boros aggro curve out. They had the turn 2 1/3 that pings me every time any creature comes out with some mobilized cards to go with it. That's the dream early play. And just insane cards to stabilize there. Really efficient removal from the static snares. Card draw to keep drawing more blockers to play off of the camel things, the pack beasts. Life drain off of our, whatever it's called, the 3/3 that mobilizes and drains every time something dies. This deck is insane. We are 6-0, undefeated all the way to the final battle of this draft. Here we are for game number 7, the potential final battle of this draft, but we've got 3 rounds in the chamber. Even if we lose this one, we got plenty more chances to get a 7th win. This draft has just gone that well, and it looks to be going pretty well this game as well. We are on the draw, so we're under some early pressure. Opponent curves out 1 drop, 2 drop. They are getting in there, but Fortress Kinguard is a great blocker for these 1 toughness cards. It can block both of them off of just 1 spell. And we have a turn 3 Skirmish Rhino, because of course we do. The mana base is incredible in this deck. Tons of duels and tri-lands and stuff, and we've drawn the lands really well this game. So let's drop the Rhino down. Keep that Botanist off us without removal from our opponent. Slightly tempted to play an Abzan Monument there, but keeping the Botanist off feels good. They are stuck on mana. I can play both the Monuments here, or I can play a Pack Beast and draw a card. Let's play both the Monuments and guarantee Rival. And then I can play the Pack Beasts for 1, so let's get more white mana here for those then. I've got double green, I've got double white, let's get double black. And pass. So I can play Revival and a Pack Beast next turn. That's a really, really good turn. There's a Globe, so they're way up on mana now. They can probably play whatever they want from here. No auto tapper. No. Whee! Sickest deck in the universe. 1 mana, 4/3, draw a card. This is genuinely just silly. I'm gonna have to look up the set after all these early access drafts, because I've yet to see a single board wipe. So I'm just gonna massively overcommit here, because it is funny, and our board's gonna be insane. But this feels like a format you can really go all out. Oh my god, these draws. Wow. I'm just going to spread them out real wide here towards the Stormsinger plus Revival trigger. Just attack all. Oops, I win. Pack Beast is already fine here as an attacker. I guess I just clear out like the sniper with it. I drain for 1. Yeah, I guess I wait for lifelink at least. Uh-oh. Okay, that's obviously quite big, but that's why we have removal. Alright. Math is for blockers. I still have 2 more, like 4/4s to play off these Abzan Monuments. With the Stormsinger dying mid-combat, this will be less damage. It might have been more damage to just not attack with Stormsinger, to guarantee the triple warrior sacks also ping here. Trample everything I can and we'll see how much this does. Oh my god. It's just lethal. I'm at 44, and I have triggers to put on the stack with the Storm Singer. Well, you can get an open obs on deck. You can do some really gross things. From what I've seen so far, like if your clan is open, whatever clan it is, you can do some really nasty stuff. But particularly, the Mardu decks have done some insane stuff against me. And then this Abzan deck has been the craziest thing I've done. Maybe not quite as crazy as our 5-color Craterhoof Behemoth deck that we played in Sealed. Spoiler alert if the upload order doesn't go like that. I think the upload order is that is the video that comes out right before this one. But yeah, this was a really fun, really powerful deck. Very, very happy with the deck. Very happy with how I drafted the pod of sticking to that 2-color pair here. I love the final push to that Abzan here as the 3-color pair. Going for the slower deck with the monuments towards the higher mana stuff. It's still having a decent early curve where we were curving out and killing people in some of those games as well as doing tons of big, powerful late game stuff. This deck was just awesome on every front. I loved every single card in it, and I will be drafting all of these cards in the future at least once. I mean, some of them are slightly filler for sure, like the Brigade, but I think everything else in here, definitely plan on drafting multiple more times in the future. Yeah, fantastic, fantastic stuff. And a lot of the power in this deck is in some stuff that you might not pick super highly or consider super highly. A lot of the power is all this fixing. And to be fair, I did not pick it probably as highly as I should have either. We were just lucky that Abzan was so open that we got these insanely late. Like the second Citadel, we got like pick 13 in one of these packs. So just lucky to be able to pick up that much fixing. It was really important. It got us consistently playing these Rhinos on 3 and almost never having any mana issues, especially with the double monument as well. Love these cards too. I don't think we ever even sacked the monument. We just had so much gas. We had so much action in all these games, but it never would have been bad to sack it. Every time we had it sitting around, it would have made like a 4/4 at least. So 4 mana 4/4, great to tack on to your fixing at the same time. So I do like the monuments. Yeah, awesome deck. Absolutely loved it. I'm gonna stop gushing about it and get back to another draft here. That is gonna end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.